Thank you, John, for those kind words. Senator John Eichelberger, Senator Mike Fulmer were two of my earliest supporters when I announced my candidacy for Attorney General. And John's been a great friend in the Senate of Pennsylvania. I value his judgment and his experience. I was very passionate about the police and the firefighters being excluded, but once I had the chance to offer my amendment, and it failed, then I said to John, you have my vote. I agree with the underlying bill. One thing about running for Attorney General, be honest. We've seen 4 years, or almost 4 years now, of that not happening. Be honest. I did not vote for Ed Rendell's personal income tax. Look up the record, I'm a no. As I was a no on the pay raise and did not take the pay raise. As I was a no on expanded gambling here in the Commonwealth. I was a yes to eliminate one of the most offensive and demeaning and crippling taxes in this Commonwealth's history. I voted yes on Senate Bill 76. And I was proud to do that as a member of the Senate of Pennsylvania. And let me set the record clear on a few other things. The Pro-Life Federation has endorsed me. I have been a staunch supporter of the right to life in the Senate of Pennsylvania from conception through natural death. I was once the chair of the Pro-Life Caucus. And ladies and gentlemen, while my opponent was not even on the radar screen, I was out there criticizing Kermit Gosnell's murder palace in the city of Philadelphia. I stood firm with my colleagues to make sure that we got that legislation through both the Senate and the House to curb the abuse and to make stricter the regulations regarding those supposed surgical institutions, and got it to Governor Corbett for his signature. In fact, I'm even in the Family Institute's film strip and some of my comments at the hearing regarding that issue. FOAC supported me my last re-election in the Senate of Pennsylvania, and they've recommended me this time for selection for Attorney General. And I'm proud to say the NRA has given me an A rating every time I've run for election or re-election in the Senate of Pennsylvania, an A rating. And my office was involved in the wording for the amendment for the preemption doctrine to strike that, to make sure that the Commonwealth had the authority and the supremacy over any of the municipalities so they could not regulate your gun ownership and your gun rights. My office did that piece of legislation. And when I decided to run for Attorney General, I was running 4 years ago, some of you may remember. The governor wanted someone else, and I acquiesced. And I said, this time, after watching the disaster that's been occurring in Harrisburg in the Office of Attorney General today, of which my opponent was a senior advisor, not a prosecutor, a senior advisor to Kathleen Kane. I decided the time was right to run for Attorney General once again, and had to be. It was incumbent upon me to restore the integrity, professional responsibility to that office. And when I announced my candidacy in June, this past June, not a year ago, not 2 years ago, this past June, the Fraternal Order Police, the State Troopers Association, the State Firefighters Association, representing the men and women who put their lives on the line day in and day out. When they go outside the door in the morning, they don't know if they're going to get back to see their families, and their families don't know if they're going to see them. They stood and said, this is the man we trust to be the chief law enforcement official, the chief lawyer for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We believe in his integrity, and we believe in his desire to do what's right for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And since that time, rank and file, the local FOPs have come in to endorse me as well. So I want to clear those misconceptions up real fast. I am the choice of the law enforcement community, and soon we'll be issuing a list of prosecutors throughout this Commonwealth that are supporting my candidacy. And I'm proud to have the support of my entire caucus in the Senate of Pennsylvania, because they recognize the effect that this Attorney General's had on our Commonwealth. And I pledge to you, as I did that day when I announced, two things. I will uphold the Commonwealth Attorneys Act. Some people haven't read that, by the way. The Commonwealth Attorneys Act, where you are under the obligation to defend the statutes duly enacted by the governor, or duly enacted by the legislature, signed by the governor into law. That is your job. And I will do that for the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You don't get to pick and choose. You defend the statutes as duly enacted. We saw that happen. And we also saw the Florida loophole closed. My opponent openly joined her office after she did that. So let's be clear on that as well. I'm going to put the Office of Attorney General back on track to be one of the shining stars, not only of this Commonwealth, but throughout the United States. When I had a chance to visit other Republican AGs this year, they said to me, what the heck has happened to Pennsylvania? That used to be one of the institutions that we would model ourselves after and copy some of their programs. I said, have faith, brothers and sisters. The day is coming. The help is on the way. We have to make sure that we have someone who has the interests of the Commonwealth, who's going to make the right decisions for the right reasons. I promised that day when I announced, if elected, I serve entire 4 years. If re-elected, I serve the entire 8 years. I'm not a governor in waiting. I'm not running for the U.S. Senate. I'm running to be Attorney General for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The people of the Commonwealth deserve that for the next 8 years. I won't operate under a political poster or personal vendettas. I'll make the right decisions. And as a former prosecutor in that office in the Medicaid fraud section, as a civil attorney, as a small business owner, even before I became an attorney, I'll bring that unique experience to the Office of Attorney General, and one who for 13 years in the legislature has been the go-to guy for the law enforcement community, authoring Jessica's Law, DUI legislation, honored 3 years now by MAD as Legislator of the Year, enhanced penalties for those who harm our law enforcement. And one of the bills I'm particularly proud of, the bill that allowed pensions to be paid to widows and widowers of our police officers slain in the line of duty. I don't have one singular vision. I have a broad vision for the Office of Attorney General, the concepts we should be doing. And you want an Attorney General who's going to stand firm against a governor who's taken pages out of the playbook of Barack Obama. And I did that with my colleagues when we stood firm against this governor's budget and his revenue plan. And John Eichelberger, Mike Fulmer, and the rest of us stood up and said, no way. So they're going to have that same desire and drive. And I did two other things I'm going to give you an instance of. When the governor declared a death penalty moratorium, I took him on the constitutionality of that. Published an opinion. Seth Williams, who's the Democrat DA in Philadelphia, was the first to file a lawsuit against his own governor about that, and referenced my opinion in his brief. So I stood against the governor. My opponent, you could hear crickets, nowhere to be seen or heard. Then, when he decided to follow Barack and allow Syrian refugees in here, I stood up on the floor of Senate and introduced a resolution saying, halt, stop, no Syrian refugees, do we have a chance to vet them? After all, government protects the health, safety, and welfare of its residents, which is essential. And I did that, and it passed the Senate with all the Republicans voting in the affirmative and some of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle as well, to say to the governor, halt it. You want an Attorney General who can win this election. If you want a Democrat, we have plenty of choices. You have one who wants to imitate Eliot Spitzer. You have one who wants to be governor. This is like a stepping stone for him. And then you have one who worked in the office as a senior advisor to Kathleen Kane, created the mess, and now wants to clean it up. Or you have an individual like me who wants to run to be your Commonwealth attorney, to work for the Office of Attorney General, to point it in the right direction to make sure we continue to do what's best for the people of Pennsylvania, and one who has broad-based support, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, which we need. And lastly, I'll close with this. Scott Wagner is supporting my candidacy. Scott Senator Wagner and I have had our differences, but we've always been able to work them out. He gave me a check for my campaign fund. So let's make no mistake about it. We have a united front going forward. We're going to win in April, the primary for office of Attorney General, and by God, we're going to win come November and take this office back for the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Thank you very much. God bless you.